21 looking at the young man with bright red eyes, I snap to my senses. The first thought I have is, what a waste of a handsome face. After 2 seconds, I become somewhat worried. Is this guy mentally challenged, or just simply mental? Is he the type of person who easily loses his way to the point that a missing report pamphlet is handed out the very next day? No, he answered me very fluently just now. He looks fine on the surface, perhaps he's just bad with directions. Well, how can someone like this be allowed outside the house on their own? I hesitate for a moment before asking, do you have your family's number? Do you need to give them a call? The man's expression instantly turns extremely ugly, giving off the feeling that he wants to bury his head in the ground. There's no need. He answers firmly. It was just a mistake. A mistake. I wasn't focused, as I was thinking about other problems. There's no need to explain, I immediately respond. Trying to explain it just shows your attempts to hide things, I add inwardly. Following that, I stand up, turn around and point at the end of the road. Follow this path to the crossroads, then turn right, understand. Turn where any other strange lands that the countries of the northern continent were unaware of, other than the forsaken land of the gods. Derek listened quietly. He lowered his head in silence and replied after a while, I want to become the sun. I wish to obtain the formula of the corresponding starting sequence potion from you. Sequence potion the sun, the sequence pathway that the Church of the Eternal Blazing Sun possesses. From the looks of it, we exist in the same world. The term sequence was born from the revelation of the first blasphemy slate, which happened at the end of the second epoch, the Dark Epoch. In other words, if the City of Silver is really the forsaken land of the gods, this means that it was split apart from the southern and northern continents at the end of the second epoch. Could this be related to the cataclysm of the third epoch? According to the legends, the Evernight goddess, Mother Earth, and the god of combat descended upon this world and protected humans from the cataclysm, along with the Lord of Storms, Eternal Blazing Sun, and the god of knowledge and wisdom. Klein obtained a fair bit of information from the youth. But he had trouble interpreting what the youth was saying, and even more trouble organizing his words, as he wasn't fluent in Jotun. Luckily, ancient Fasak was derived directly from Jotun. Klein could be described as an expert in that area, and thus, he could master Jotun relatively quickly, preventing him from making a fool of himself. Klein maintained his posture. He replied with a calm tone, we can discuss this transaction in the future. Do not go out for the next 2 days. Try your best to not be in the same room as anyone else. He didn't know the unit of time used in the City of Silver, much less the time difference it had with the Lone Kingdom. All he could do was generalize it as tomorrow and wait until the tarot gathering was over before he told him that was the time for future meetings, right? I move my right arm as I face the same direction as him. The man gloomily says, I'm not a juvenile. TLL, concentrate this time. There definitely won't be a problem. I ignore his emphasis and instead remind him, if you encounter any more accidents, you can look for the police. I originally wanted to mischievously say Mr. Policeman, but since he has already said that he isn't a juvenile, I'll just forget about it. However, is this guy living in some stage play? His choice of words are quite literal. Juvenile. Using the term primary school student would be more down to earth. The man falls silent for 2 seconds before taking a deep breath. Thank you. You're welcome. I suppress my urge to make a joke. After watching this guy walk far down the road, I sit back down and enjoy the barbecue. I have to say that meat kebabs have to have fat in order to be delicious. Otherwise, they need to be marinated. Otherwise, it would definitely be dry, woody, and tasteless. In this aspect, chicken skin is definitely the type of food that can take up the challenge. In my heart, it's better than pork belly. However, the chicken skin's quality is hard to guarantee. Some barbecue stalls use the kind that were frozen for God knows how long. As for the one I chose, I can be quite certain of its standard. I bite down on a piece of condiment-infused chicken skin that's been coated with grease. Combined with a mouthful of pineapple and the chilling taste of beer, I find this summer evening simply wonderful in a way that cannot be described. This pineapple beer isn't bad. It's refreshing and quenches my thirst. I'm completely engrossed in the food to the point that I even neglect my phone. Meat, chives, eggplant, and a nice beverage. As I take in this assortment of delicacies, the food in front of me decreases. Few nice, I rub my belly in satisfaction. In the next second, I start to have regrets. No, I have to control myself. What if I get fat? In the near future, I can only indulge myself once a month, no, once a week. While I'm in a dilemma, I look up and see a figure. He's wearing a three-piece attire that isn't suited to proper nightlife. He has two bright red eyes. Almost at the same time, the figure seems to sense my gaze. He turns his head and casts his gaze at me. Why the FK are you back? Don't tell me that you got lost. The man stands by the roadside, neither advancing nor retreating. He seems to be embroiled in an intense inner struggle. I look around, but I don't see any patrolling policemen. I hesitate for a moment before standing up and walking towards the man. I've already paid for the barbecue when the kebabs were delivered, so the lady boss doesn't stop me from leaving. Why don't I take you there? I don't mention the fact that he's lost. As a person, one has to know when to joke and when not to. The man's expression changes. After a few seconds, he whispers, "All right. Let's go." I turn and lead. "Thank you." The wind nearly scatters his voice from behind. As I walk along the road to the crossroads, I casually chat. "Which country are you from? You speak pretty good Mandarin." "Yes, I'm a minority." The man hesitates for a moment before replying. "Oh, no wonder. Which ethnic group are you from? How should I address you?" I'm enlightened. The man walks to my side and falls silent for a moment before saying, "My surname is Baiwan. My name is Aylin. It's a nice name, just a little feminine," I tease. To be honest, a superficial joke like this definitely doesn't match the sarcasm in my heart. I've already given Bai Aylin a feminine nickname in my mind, Lin Lin or Lin Lin. Bai Aylin ignores my joke and walks forward before turning left. "Wait. Wrong. That's wrong. Over here." I quickly correct him. "You really are a primary school student." Bai Aylin immediately turns around and follows me to take the right turn. I don't look at his face and I don't say a word. I give him time to calm down, lest he gets angry. To be honest, who gave him the courage to come out in the middle of the night to look for a hospital with such a terrible sense of direction? Couldn't he just get a taxi? Or let his parents accompany him? After turning right, it's only a 50 to 60 meter walk. The hospital appears before us. This hospital isn't big. This is the inpatient building. If you go straight ahead, you'll see the emergency department and the outpatient building. "Do you need me to bring you there?" "No need, I'm just going to the inpatient building." Bai Aylin is visibly relieved. "Thank you." As he speaks, he takes out a simple brass key from his pocket. Strange, people actually use a key like that in this day and age. In actuality, it just appears like that on the surface. It's essentially a smart key. I don't probe further and wave. "Goodbye." After walking for a few meters, I look back worriedly, only to find Bai Aylin gone. I can no longer see him on this road. It's as if he vanished into thin air. The hospital's side door didn't open either. Could he have fallen into the sewers? I look over and realize that the manhole cover is fine. Perhaps he used the key to open the door and enter. Heh heh. The old man guarding the side door must be asleep, right? I shake my head and stop thinking about this. I head all the way home. I find myself feeling a little thirsty thanks to the barbecue, so I take out a cup from my room, open the fridge, and pour the cold water that has been chilled the entire day into the cup. This is a habit of mine during the summer. Before I head out in the morning, I boil a pot of water, pour it into the large container, and place it in the fridge. I can then drink it after work. Gulp, gulp, gulp. I drink 2 glasses in a row and finally feel fine. After pouring another glass, I saunter back to my bedroom and sit at the computer table. As I sweep my gaze, I suddenly sense something amiss. The black notebook I bought this afternoon is laying open. I remember that before I went out for barbecue, it was clearly closed. Besides, I didn't open the windows for fear of mosquito. One literally white in Chinese. 22 without the window being opened, the notebook flipped open by itself. Did someone enter my room? Or rather, is it a paranormal incident? There's a ghost following me. It's normal to have paranormal incidents. In that second, countless thoughts flash through my mind. At the same time, I see a monster drawn on the page of the open note. The monster is humanoid, but it's made of tiny squirming worms. This sounds very bizarre and terrifying, but in reality, it feels nothing of the sort. This is because this drawing is very simple and crude. It resembles the random scribbling of a kindergarten child. No way. Some brat entered my room, a relative of one of my flatmates. As I think about it, I pick up my notebook and flip through it quickly, searching for other traces. After flipping through 2 pages, I see lines of text. My drawing expertise is really bad. The main problem isn't me. I was once called a master artist. War is art. War is aesthetics. It's like V had a dream that I often had. The dream is filled with such strange language. I'm such a decadent fellow. We really are women. These lines of text weren't that difficult to read, but the things written down look very chaotic. It gives me a headache as I instinctively stop reading and close the notebook. There's a problem with this. This is like an incantation for dark magic. I've experienced quite a few things in the past 2 days. I barely managed to calm myself down as I cast my gaze towards the window. On the glass window, the blonde female ghost that looks like she's cosplaying appeared. Do you know who did it? I ask in a suppressed voice. TT was done by an evil spirit, the female ghost replies with an ethereal voice. Evil spirit sounds more advanced than some spirit or poltergeist. As a modern youth who has played many foreign games and watched some foreign television series, I think the name sounds pretty cool. Is an evil spirit more powerful? I ask after some deliberation. The female ghost nods her head in agreement. Will this be more troublesome? I think of asking Madame Dolly to exorcise the ghosts again, but I'm also worried that she won't be able to deal with ghosts at the level of evil spirits. Team also an evil spirit, the female ghost says simply. Okay. I don't know how to respond. What's that evil spirit's intention behind scrawling in my note? It takes me a few seconds to recall the main purpose of my question. The female ghost shakes her head. Don't know. 74, lope in my mouth and change the topic. How should I address you? I can't just keep calling her female ghost, right? That's not polite. Sharon. After the female ghost says that, her figure gradually fades and disappears from the glass window. Seeing that she's very calm and composed, I'm relieved. I tease myself it's a huge incident. There's no use panicking. Just focus on sleeping. Then I wash up and go to bed. It ends up being an uneventful night. The next morning, I wake up on time as usual. I lays in bed for 10 minutes and take my time to leave the house. On the way to the bus stop, I buy a burrito that can virtually wrap everything. With the burrito in hand, I take the bus and arrive at the company. I sit in my seat, then I get some water from the water dispenser and get down to eating breakfast. If I hadn't treated myself last night, then I should be having a cup of sweet soy milk. Thinking of sweet soy milk, I associate it with the new product that has just been released at the store I frequently buy from. Salted soy milk. This seems to be the unique way to eat in a few places. Soy milk with soy sauce added to it. I don't know what it tastes like. I eat my breakfast seriously and start preparing for work. At this moment, Razan, who is almost late, rushes in with a huge bag in her hand. Here, have some beverages. My treat, she says to everyone in the office. She's a lady with good personal relations. Including me, most of the people stand up and surround her. What beverages are there? I ask casually. Razan puts down her bag and hands the bag to everyone. Aya, I bought a lot of bottles to get what I wanted. They all have different flavors. If you're alive, then you should have a gambler inside you. Come, let's see what I picked. What in the world is she talking about? Beginning to doubt Razan's ability to express herself. However, I still understood the last sentence. I quickly reach into the bag and take out a beverage. I wonder what flavor it will be. Just as I have this thought, I see a familiar bottle design. It's a bottle formed by twisted snake-like pattern. This is very similar to the assassin beverage I drank before, but the color is a little different. It was black before, but now it's blue. I quickly turn the bottle around and see the name on the front, Only Instigator, aren't you going to drink it? You don't like this? Why don't you drink this last bottle instead? Razan points at the last bottle in the bag, puzzled. The beverage bottle is like a ball of extended flames. It's very cool. No, I'm thinking. I subconsciously refuse, searching for an excuse. As these thoughts flash through my mind, I blurt out, I'm wondering if I should match it with some snacks. As I speak, I take out the snack that was given to me by CEO Huang's non-blood-related granddaughter, Caddy Huang. That small bag of dried mushroom. Klein knew that there was a term for day in the yacht, and thus deduced that the youth would understand even if the City of Silver didn't use it as a measure of time. "All right, PLL, follow your instructions," Derek replied with his head lowered. He didn't have any objections. Klein heaved a sigh of relief. He tapped his fingers on the side of the table and said, "Before I send you back, let me first complete our equal exchange. I gave you a chance to be strong, and you have to give me something equal in return. TF said that I am the fool who is interested in the long history of this world. What I ask in return is the history of the City of Silver, everything that you know." Derek thought for a moment before replying softly, "I will describe it faithfully. The City of Silver has existed ever since the omnipotent and omniscient God, the Lord that created everything, forsook this land. No, it existed before that, but it was called the Kingdom of Silver." 23. These dried mushrooms don't look very delicious. Razan looks at the bag of dried mushrooms in my hand, seriously, for a few seconds before replying hesitantly. It's obvious that she's a little embarrassed to say that the mushroom looks dry and black. It causes alarms to go off, and it can hardly whet up an appetite. After all, I'd offered it out of kind intention. I take this opportunity to change the topic. "What's your drink called?" Razan immediately turns around and picks up the beverage bottle on the table. She says with a smile, "This is it. The design looks cool, right? The beverage bottle has a streamlined design with a footprint theme. The name is Reporter. That's different from mine," I politely compliment. "Looks good." Razan twists the cap that has been opened a long time ago, as if she's preparing to take a sip. I instinctively want to stop her, but after opening my mouth, I realize that I don't have a reason. Furthermore, a third of the reported beverage is gone. This means that Razan has already drank it. There's no point in stopping her now. Gulp, Razan lowers the bottle and twists the cap back on. "TT doesn't taste bad. Try it." Okay, I say perfunctorily. Razan doesn't urge me any further. Instead, she points at the remaining beverage bottles in the plastic bag. "You can also switch bottles." "No need, there's no need," I reply without hesitation. "Either way, I don't intend to drink it. It doesn't matter if I switch it or not." After 2 seconds of deliberation, I look at Razan and probe, "How do you feel after drinking it? Any special sensations?" "Special sensations? Do you think this is a drug?" It's moderately sweet and refreshing. The fragrance will definitely be better after chilling it." Razan says, a little pissed. She doesn't look like she's lying. This means that she probably didn't obtain superpowers from the reporter beverage. I subconsciously survey my surroundings and realize that my fellow colleagues have more or less drunk some of Razan's beverages, but none of them show any signs of abnormality. They don't even appear dazed or confused. Could it be that only the assassin beverage I picked last time has a special effect? I wonder if that's considered being lucky or not. I quickly control my doubts and wave the instigator beverage in my hand. "TLL need to get down to work." "Go ahead. Don't let me stop you." Razan waves her hand casually. Returning to my seat, I sit down. I look at the instigator beverage in front of me and fall into deep thought. After about 20 seconds, I use my large mug meant for drinking water. This is something I prepare for taking pleasant gulps of water. I open the cap of the instigator beverage and pour the liquid inside. Although I don't plan on drinking this beverage, I'm curious about what the liquid inside looks like and whether it contains some special powers. Splash. I pour all of the instigator beverage into my mug. That's too little, isn't it? That definitely isn't 500 milliliters. I can't help but look down on this beverage's manufacturer. My mug isn't small, but it usually can't hold the entirety of a 550 ml bottle of mineral water. In other words, while there appeared to be quite a bit of instigator in it, the manufacturer had actually cut corners. It's dark blue. It's clear and it's quite enticing. I carefully observe the liquid in the mug and gather some preliminary information. Other than that, the drink is no different from anything else, at least not on the surface. After some thought, I decide to throw something into the mug to see if there will be any changes. What do I throw? I look around when I suddenly get a bout of inspiration. Those dried mushrooms. Anyway, this isn't something I plan on eating, so I can use it for experiments. I really am a genius. Without any hesitation, I tear open the packaging and throw the black dried mushrooms into the dark blue liquid, watching them stretch out and expand slightly. There aren't any changes. I'm starting to think that I'm overthinking matters. Suddenly, messages come from my work's chat group. I start to get busy. About 15 minutes later, I finish my work and raise my head, preparing to stretch my neck. Suddenly, I see a mushroom. A white and tender mushroom with red star dots all over. Where did this mushroom come from? I glance over and discover that it's growing in my mug. It's about the size of a palm. Its skin, no, its surface is so tender and supple. On the cap there are mushrooms of the same breed, just like its hands and feet. What the hell is this? Am confused. At that moment, the mushroom sways, and the cap moves upwards as though it has lifted its head. The two slightly larger red stars that look like eyes meet my gaze. Just like that, I look at it, and it seems to be looking at me. A few seconds later, the mushroom reaches out its many hands, and using the edge of the mug as leverage, it jumps out. In the next second, it jumps to the floor and wildly runs towards the office door. FCK, I'm still confused. At the same time, I discover a problem. All of the instigator beverage in the mug is gone. Almost subconsciously, I stand up and chase after the mushroom. I suspect that it's a product from the fusion of the instigator beverage and the dried mushroom. I have to resolve this accident I caused as soon as possible. The mushroom is short and extremely fast. It passes through the office without being obstructed and wasn't even discovered. On the other hand, I'm stopped by my colleagues several times and have no choice but to slow down. So, although the mushroom's footsteps are obviously smaller than mine, it still escapes from the company. I charged into the company next door. I subconsciously follow. At this moment, the security guard next door stops me. "What are you here for?" The tall and strong security guard asks. My mind races as I come up with an excuse. "Team here for Vice President Wu." Vice President Wu. The security officer doesn't believe me. I'll ask the front desk. While he's walking to the front desk, I approach the door and gaze inside. I'm shocked by what I'm seeing. The employees of the company next door are either wearing black hooded robes or wearing strange costumes. They're dancing with something similar to an employee's dance for business. A cosplay convention. A masquerade ball. It's only 9 in the morning. I'm confused again, forgetting to sneak inside. "What's your boss doing?" I ask when the security guard returns. It's so strange. Only the security officer shakes his head. "T don't know either. Team just a worker." Tusk, the moment I hear that, it's obvious that he's trying to draw a clear line between him and them. I press. "Is your boss inside too?" "Yes, that one over there who isn't wearing anything," the security guard replies nonchalantly. I focus my gaze, and the corner of my mouth twitches involuntarily. Pervert. 24. Them at a distance, with all the weirdly dressed people in the way, I still see the naked man bound in dark red ropes. As for whether he's wearing something over the lower half of his body, or what he's wearing, I can't see it because of the table, chairs, and other things that are in the way. In short, the impression that guy gives me is a pervert. And he might even be into Su 0026M. Of course, it's unclear whether he's a real pervert or just cosplaying. "All right, you can go in now," the security guard says casually. Huh? I doubt my ears. I had lied about being here for Vice President Wu in my rush to give an excuse. I didn't expect to get permission at all. My original plan was to sneak in while the security guard went to inquire at the front desk and catch that mushroom man. However, the large-scale cosplay scene inside gave me a shock, causing me to temporarily fall into a dazed state of questioning myself. Who am I? Where am I from? And what am I doing? I didn't have the chance to take advantage of this opening. Vice President Wu has given you permission to enter. Why? Do you not understand what I'm saying? The security guard senses my confusion. I'm even more surprised. The Vice President Wu personally said to allow me entry. Is he trying to pull me into his marketing team? The security officer glances at me. You aren't very familiar with Vice President Wu. Have only met him a few times, I quickly emphasize. The security guard turns to look at the company's interior. Seeing that Vice President Wu wasn't nearby, he says, "Vice President Wu doesn't like to talk. He doesn't answer questions or give instructions. Later, we figured out the rules. Whatever he doesn't object to on the spot is him giving tacit approval for. Is that so? But it could also be because of other reasons." I once knew a friend who wasn't smart and had a slow reaction. He only understood the first joke when someone was beginning the second joke. Perhaps Vice President Wu is such a person. He doesn't answer the question because he's still digesting the information. He needs more than 10 minutes to think about the answer. I don't argue with the security guard and just mutter inwardly. Since I have an opportunity like this, I obviously wouldn't care if Vice President Wu really acquiesced, or if the creator had given him looks but forgot to give him intelligence. I immediately walk past the security guard and enter the neighboring company. I carefully circle the edge of the room, which is in a noisy din, with all kinds of crazy dancing happening, searching for the mushroom man I created by mistake. Skull decorations, blood-colored juice, painting made of leather. This not only is the perverted boss next door a multi-level marketing person, but he also believes in some strange cult. As I scan my surroundings, my heart beats faster as my urge to escape increases. If I wasn't already an assassin and was able to do a leap of faith and be in possession of extraordinary powers, I definitely wouldn't have dared to stay any longer. As I walk, I see a long table filled with breakfast. At this moment, a man in a long black robe with a hood suddenly turns his head and looks at me. "Who are you?" he asks hesitantly. I reply without any scruples, "I'm cosplaying an employee." Just because all of you are cosplaying cultists or all kinds of strange figures, does that forbid me from doing a serious role? Employee, the man repeats my words in confusion. He doesn't seem to have a high IQ, that's true. If I'm doing a MLM business, I'll definitely like this kind of member more. They're easy to deceive. I take this opportunity to walk past the black-robed man and to the long table. As I sweep my gaze, joy suddenly surges in my heart. I see that mushroom man. It's lying in a pile of roasted mushrooms, wrapping itself with a layer of sauce, pretending to be ordinary, normal food. However, its seductive aura betrays it. Even though there's a lot of food on the long table, it still stands out. It doesn't seem to have a high IQ as well. I pretend not to notice as I slowly approach. Then I extend my hand toward the mushroom man. At this moment, a fork stabs the mushroom man and lifts it up before I can get to it. The mushroom man attempts to struggle, but to no avail. It's stuffed into the mouth of a beautiful-looking man with a fork and is chewed. Poor thing. As it had no mouth, it was eaten by the other party before it could even scream. "Me, what? What's wrong?" The man with the androgynous looks asks in a muffled voice while eating the mushroom. "Are you all right?" I ask hesitantly. Gulp, the beautiful man swallows the last mouthful of mushroom. "TM good." "Really? You're fine?" I ask subconsciously. I have a nagging feeling that a strange creature like the mushroom man wouldn't die so easily. "I'm fine." The beautiful man shakes his head. "You are?" "With Vice President Wu." "How may I address you?" I carefully observe the other party's condition. Only the beautiful man's expression sinks. "TM, mister." "Hey." I stare at him for a few seconds before smiling. Team heading to Vice President Wu's side. Without any hesitation, I maintain my smile and quickly leave the long table and walk out the door. After leaving the neighboring company, I turn to the stairwell and hold in my expression. I take out my phone. The omnipotent and omniscient God, the Lord that created everything. Klein leaned back and maintained a profound posture while he ruminated over the words that the youth from the City of Silver had said. He was no stranger to a Lord that created everything. The Creator mentioned in the Book of Storms, the revelation of Evernight, and other urban myths referred to the Creator with similar title. It was also the way various secret organizations like the Aurora Order described the true Creator. But this was the first time Klein was hearing of an omnipotent and omniscient God in this world. Be it the Evernight goddess, Lord of Storms, and the god of steam and machinery, none of them claimed to be omniscient or omnipotent. If the City of Silver was really in the forsaken land of the gods, then the forsaken land of the gods would truly belong to this world. The omnipotent and omniscient God might be the title of the Creator that was used by the living in ancient times. Klein looked towards the young man opposite him in thought. He looked at the emotional colors of pain and sorrow. When Derek felt the fool's gaze, he lowered his head involuntarily. He recalled the legends that his parents had told him. He said slowly and sadly, "When the sun disappeared from the sky, when the clouds were ripped and torn apart, when lightning and thunder became our rulers, and the monsters lurking in the dark suddenly emerged, one so terrifying beyond one's imagination. They destroyed one city after another in the Kingdom of Silver. Humanity's dark ages had arrived. The remaining experts in the City of Silver then relied on their united power and two magical items before they finally warded off. Hello, is this the police? I found the site of a large-scale pyramid scheme. 25. Translator. CK Talon. I honestly informed Mr. Policeman about my suspicions of the company next door. After all, this company has existed since before I was employed at my present company. To be able to remain hidden for so many years meant that they knew how to hide the evidence and cover up their tracks. Also, I actually can't prove that the company next door is involved in a pyramid scheme. Strange costumes and eccentric behavior are never valid charges. The reason I called the police was because I was worried about Mr. A's safety. He had eaten that mutated mushroom man, who knew what would happen if he waited a little while. It wasn't as though I could monitor him and resolve the problem in time. As for whether the police could solve anything that involved supernatural events, I'm quite confident. This is a result of simple deduction through logic. The medium who's good at exorcism, Madame Di, is Officer Deng's fiancé. The police department collaborator, Old Neil, is also sensitive to ghosts and obviously has a solution for dealing with them. The mysterious cult that Officer Deng reminded me to watch out for can create extraordinary beings. Based on these points, it's easy to conclude that the police have a deeper understanding of supernatural power. Since they have a deeper understanding, they definitely wouldn't lack the strength and solutions to deal with it. Putting away my phone, I glance sideways at the company next door that's still normal. Suppressing my concern, I return to my desk and start working. I'm plagued by all kinds of trivial matters for my last project the entire morning. I was so busy that I didn't even have time to poop on company time. As noon approaches, my phone suddenly buzzes. I pick it up and see an unfamiliar number. Who is it? A scammer. Some advertising agent. It's not listed, I mutter as I pick up. Hello, were you the one who called the police? You said that Aurora Company at 10188 at Fengfei Road is suspected to be involved in a pyramid scheme. A slightly tired voice comes from the other end of the phone. The police are already here. Have they done the investigation? At that moment, questions flash through my mind before a scene surfaces. The cosplayer cultist, Mr. A, who looks like a beautiful man, is covered in mushrooms with golden spots. He wobbles as he walks towards the police. How terrifying, I can't help but shiver and hurriedly reply, yes, I called the police. Do you think their behavior is very suspicious? Did you find anything? They're a legit company. The policeman on the other end of the line sighs and says, you can't think that they're involved in a pyramid scheme just because they hold parties early in the morning. There are countless companies that shout slogans and even dance every morning. But one look at their gathering and you can tell it's not normal, I subconsciously retort. The policeman on the other end of the line says helplessly, can't they cosplay in the morning? Can't they have a masquerade party in the morning? You can complain about them disturbing the peace, but you can't say that they're running a pyramid scheme. They already explained that this is the company's corporate culture. And we define a company with such corporate culture as a cult. I originally want to say that, but when I think about the news of punishing employees to crawl like dogs, I feel that the company next door hasn't gone too far. Yes, I'm sorry. I was too sensitive. I apologize hastily. The policeman on the other end of the line heaves a sigh of relief. Don't do this again in the future. Without waiting for him to finish, I forcefully interrupt. Did you discover anything? Was there anyone who got food poisoning because of mushroom? What can we discover? They're all working hard, the policeman on the other end of the line says impatiently. He emphasizes that I shouldn't be too sensitive and hangs up. It seems Mr. A is fine, relieved. I stand up and look around. At this moment, there are only 2 or 3 people left in the office waiting for their food to be delivered. The other colleagues have already gone to the office canteen on the 2nd floor. CEO Huang has always been very generous to his employees. He gives plenty of meal allowance, but all of it is transferred to our employee car. It can only be used at the canteen. Of course, the company canteen standard is quite good. Regardless of the ingredients, quantity, or culinary skills, they're all satisfactory. The only problem is that there isn't much variety in staples, only rice, noodles, and wonton. Some of the employees can only rely on delivery food when they want to eat rice noodles or pancakes. To me, this doesn't pose a problem. As long as the dishes have variety, it doesn't matter what the staple is. It would be a waste not to use my meal allowance. It's not like it can be used outside. Rubbing my stomach, I open my drawer, take out my employee card, and run towards the elevator. After entering the canteen, I look for a window seat first. Just then, through the window, I see a row of people standing downstairs. The leader is CEO Huang. CEO Huang quickly gets into a Rolls-Royce, and it drives off behind another car. I know that leading car. I just sat in it yesterday. It belongs to our partner company's Resego. Thinking of this racer, I suddenly feel a little nauseous. I feel like I'm suffering from motion sickness. This Mr. Zarathustra has arrived via high-speed rail. CEO Huang is going to personally fetch him. He places great importance on this. I rein in my thoughts and cast my gaze back at the food selection window. Besides, this job has already been handed over. What happens next has nothing to do with me. After having a perfect lunch, I saunter back into the office and lean my neck against a neck pillow. I have a habit to sleep for a while at noon, or else I'll be groggy in the afternoon. And I need to listen to music during my afternoon nap to avoid being disturbed by the random noises in the office. I quickly put on my inner ear headphones, open on a music player, and start searching for today's lullaby. There's a new song. It's from overseas, and it's doing pretty well. I glance at it, my interest peaked. During my afternoon nap, my music of choice has always been more inclined towards songs in foreign languages, because if I don't focus on listening, it won't be easy to understand, and I wouldn't care too much about the lyrics. I won't let my imagination run wild. The reviews are okay. I quickly decide to buy the song. When translated, the song's title is Advance. Advance. Its singer is Alger Wilson. I check the information on this singer and find that he is rather inspirational. He was originally just a crew member who drifted out at sea, but after much hardship, he became a singer. 26. In a daze, I open my eyes. Holy SHT, when did I fall asleep? I have no recollection at all. I glance around blankly and find my colleagues working in their respective cubicles. I only remember that I was getting ready to listen to a song, and here I am. Did I black out? I didn't drink. Ouch, my head hurts. I'm so dizzy I want to vomit at this moment. I feel like I've just woken up from a hangover. Of course, this is just a feeling, as I've never been drunk. Raising my hands to rub my temples, I glance at the music player and find that it has stopped playing. Advance. Advance. Yes, I was listening to this song. I can't remember its melody at all. Puzzled, I click on the song's reviews again. Nice. An unprecedented experience. Excellent pleasure. Because I've read the reviews on the first few pages, I only take a few casual glances and scroll to the end. Thank you so much for this song. It cured my chronic insomnia. The purest and most punk death rock. This song made me faint. This isn't a description, but literally what happened. I can't imagine how humans can make such sounds. TF, you're a man, try lasting 30 seconds. This song is a little problematic. I won't listen to this so-called death rock again. I grit my teeth for a few seconds before deciding to add another review. An unprecedented form of music. It transcends human understanding. I have to let others experience it too. I can't be selfish. After getting a preliminary explanation for the mysterious blackout, I take off my headphones and prepare for work. However, my head is dizzy and my forehead is throbbing in pain. From time to time, I feel disgusted. This is a lot worse than the heat stroke I previously suffered from. Even the office's powerful air conditioning is unable to ease my discomfort. No, I have to go to the hospital for a checkup. I feel like I'm going to crash. I try to calm myself down, but I still can't hold on. Luckily, CEO Huang has always been generous. Every employee has 2 days of paid medical leave without a doctor's note. I quickly write a request for time off and head to Director I's office to ask for his signature. Perhaps it's because my complexion is really bad. Director AI doesn't make things difficult for me. Out of concern, he even asks me if I need someone to send me to the hospital. There's no need. It's not that serious. I still care about my face. I would never ask for help if I can solve it myself. Okay, go back and have a good rest. If there's anything urgent in the afternoon, I will arrange someone else to do it. Director AI doesn't insist. Out of the building, I get a rideshare without hesitation. I don't put on a strong front by taking the bus. I've always been willing to spend money when the time calls for it. Mushu Hospital. Very soon the car arrives. I board it and first verify my destination. Mushu Hospital is one of the better public hospitals in the surrounding areas, but it's not one of the best. Hence, there are fewer patients, and there wouldn't be a long line for the emergency department. The hospital that Bai Alan went to last night is at the district level. Although I haven't been there before, I have a nagging feeling that it's very reliable. Okay, the driver answers simply and starts the car. Time ticks by as I gradually feel alive. My head isn't that dizzy anymore, and I no longer have cold sweat. The throbbing pain completely disappeared. Holy FCK, did I choose a hospital that's too far away? I'm scared that I'll be alright by the time I make it to the hospital. I can't help but have a strange thought. As it turns out, this isn't wishful thinking. When the driver arrives at my destination, I'm completely awake and alive. I even feel a little hungry. There's no need to go to the emergency department. After a round of inspection, I'm certain I'm in a good condition. Thus, my only option is to enjoy this spare time for myself. After all, I've already taken time off, and there's no way to cancel it. Return home to play games. Find a movie to watch. Right. I still have to register at the dream tutoring classes. I can't not do anything after being paid. I happen to be free right now anyway. I pick up my phone, look for the picture of the address of the tutoring center that I took, call another rideshare and head there. Hello, I'd like to know more about your tutoring class. I don't directly say that I'm going to sign up while facing the male receptionist. To be honest, I think this tutoring center is a little strange. It actually uses men as receptionists instead of women. I'm not discriminating against men, but I feel that women are more patient and gentle. The receptionist briefly introduces the courses they have before asking, "What would you like?" This fellow is so silly that he's comparable to that Danny. Is this the theme of this tutoring center? I cough lightly and say, "Weekend Business English." This is the best course out of our dream tutoring classes. Our principal is in charge of it, and she has even invited a few foreign teachers, real foreign teachers, the receptionist says without end. We can still get you a discount if you sign up now. The original price is 8,888 yuan, but it's only 6,666 now. Is your principal very capable? I take the opportunity to ask. The receptionist points to the corridor. She's been studying abroad for many years and has mastered a lot of languages. She even has a PhD in education. I trace the receptionist's finger and gaze at the ajar classroom door in the corridor. The one holding the class is a woman. Her side is facing the outside, the attack of the things of the dark. They gradually eradicated the monsters within a one-day journey of the city, and they established a city-state that protected the last light of human civilization. A standard textbook description, Klein couldn't help but comment in his head. The young man's description made him feel that the City of Silver was in a different world than the northern continent. Maybe this is the unique characteristic of the forsaken land of the god. He thought without revealing his emotion. Derek calmed his breathing and continued. During the first few decades, plants couldn't grow. The City of Silver had a severe lack of food, and we could only hunt dark creatures or mutated animals to relieve our hunger. The population dropped drastically. Fortunately, we found black-faced grass. It could survive under such circumstances, and it became our only reliable and stable food source. TT was said to be the final intervention that the magnificent god left for us. It allowed one generation after another to live on in the City of Silver. It persisted in the Dark Ages for 2582 years. The passage of time was recorded by a long line of chiefs. For the rest of the people in the City of Silver, we call periods of frequent lightning day, and when the lightning subsides, we call it night. It's a rather confusing system, and it makes exact dates difficult to pinpoint. Such a magical place, Klein was glad that he hadn't talked about tomorrow, but instead vaguely mentioned the following 2 days. Derek briefly talked about the few memorable incidents in the City of Silver's history and said, when the population returned to a certain level, the number of Beyonders increased. The 6-member council started forming elite troops to explore the dark. We have now explored all of the original territory and nearby cities. We are advancing towards the darker and more terrifying depths of the dark. At the border, we found cities with strange architectural style, and she's wearing a pair of loose jeans. Her upper body is wearing a white slim-fit shirt with flowers. Her hair is dyed brown, and she has tied her hair up in a bun. In addition, based on my assassin vision, I can clearly see the principal's side profile. She's not too old, only in her 20s. She has some baby fat on her face, and the contours of her face are very exquisite. She's probably pretty good looking. Our principal is very knowledgeable. Other than being a polyglot, she knows how to draw, do oil paintings, sketches, watercolor paintings, and all kinds of painting. She also knows how to appraise antique and different musical instruments. She's practically an all-rounder. The receptionist's tone is filled with admiration. Just as I'm about to respond, a man walks into the tutoring center. "Look, this is our foreign teacher, Mr. Anderson Hood." The receptionist immediately introduces him. He's proficient in at least 10 languages. He can communicate with you alone and train your accent. From the corner of my eye, I see a foreign young man with blonde hair and blue eyes. He's wearing a white shirt and black vest. With the intention of testing him, I switch to English. "Hello, what languages do you know? How long have you been teaching at this tutoring center?" The tutor named Anderson Hood has his hands in his pockets as he smiles and says, "At %# Q0, me." What is he saying also? Why does this guy look so familiar with the way he has his hands in his pockets? Anderson glances at me and chuckles. "How is it? My Mauritian Creole isn't bad, right?" This time he uses English. He then translates it into Chinese. Don't understand," I answer honestly. I can't be sure what language he said the first time. Anderson tusks and says, "It looks like you don't have any talent in languages. Why don't you learn how to paint from me?" 27 Translator CK Talent T4. For a moment, I'm at a loss on how to respond to Anderson Hood. I'm afraid that I would end up quarreling with him the moment I open my mouth. After a few seconds, I finally find a relatively euphemistic solution. "Oh, you're even able to paint." The receptionist eagerly says, "Ha, he knows a lot of things. He originally came to our country to learn banter, claiming that he's proficient in all kinds of things." That sounds like sarcasm. The receptionist and this foreign teacher don't seem to be on good terms. I wonder if he's speaking the truth or just joking. Although I'm not particularly good at observing people, his behavior is a little obvious. "Haha, if you wish to learn banter, I can teach you as well," Anderson Hood says with a well-enunciated Chinese accent. We'll see. I'm a little confused about the current situation, and I have no choice but to say something perfunctory like, "I'll check my schedule." After watching Anderson walk into the office, I turn my head and ask the male receptionist, "Can I not sign up for his class?" "That's one of your rights." The male receptionist looks excited. "A wise choice." He then gives me a thumbs up. This foreign teacher, Anderson, is he that bad? I glance in the direction of the office. The male receptionist chuckles. "To be honest, he's very capable. His only flaw is," he pauses. "What is it?" I can't help but ask in response. The male receptionist turns solemn. "That he's not a mute." "Helasa." I laugh, half sincere and half polite. Then I ask curiously, "Do people sign up for his classes?" "Yes, quite a lot." The male receptionist curls his lips. "Aren't they aware that you can't withdraw from classes and switch teachers after signing up?" I take the opportunity to gather more details. "No." The male receptionist quickly corrects me. "We have one trial lesson. If you're not satisfied, you can switch to another teacher." He pauses and laughs. "Well, some people just like to get mocked and trampled on." It sounds like they have a special fetish. I stop asking further. "Then LL sign up for your principal's class. Are there weekend classes?" "Yes." The male receptionist quickly does the introductions. I don't waste any time. After paying 6,666 yuan, I sign up for the Dream Tutoring Classes Weekend Business English class. After leaving the Dream Tutoring classes, I don't leave the building. Instead, I find a quiet corner and take in the feel of the air conditioner. I then make a record of today's events. To be a commercial spy, one has to act like a commercial spy. I have to live up to Miss Huang's payment. Done. I casually tap my phone and look at the department chat to prevent myself from missing any important notices. "Razan, take note, take note. CEO Huang is bringing a VIP over to visit. Everyone, please be more professional. VIP, oh, that client named Zarathustra. Heh heh, I actually missed him again. Looks like we aren't fated to meet. I hold my phone and consider what to do next. It's rare for me to have free time in the afternoon, on a non-weekend day. I can't waste it. I'll go catch a movie. There shouldn't be a lot of people at this time. With that thought in mind, I immediately head to the larger mall next door. Then I take the elevator to the 4th floor and start searching for the cinema. There's a signing event. Looking around, I see many people lining up at the entrance of a large bookstore. It's obvious that a famous author is here to do a fansigning event. With some level of curiosity, I deliberately pass by and see a few poster stands. Romance Queen, Slacker Without a Dream, this pen name ha. The authors nowadays really have weird pen names. I don't know the author of the fansign event, nor do I have any intention of joining in the fun. Of course, I'm still a little curious as to what the author looks like. After all, the few poster stands that aren't blocked mainly introduce the Romance Queen's new book without any picture. PLL, come take a look after the movie, I mutter to myself and follow the road signs to the other side of the mall. At the end of the road, I find the cinema. Because I haven't thought of what to watch, I stay in the lobby and look for something that piques my interest from the promotional picture. Suddenly, I feel the light in front of me dim. A tall man appears beside me. He's so tall. He's almost 2 meters. I look at him from the corner of my eye and realize that he looks like a basketball player. Wait, he seems to be wearing the junior high school uniform near my neighborhood. Holy SHT, he's only in middle school and he's already 2 meters tall. What do children nowadays eat? And he dyed his hair brownish yellow. Does he need to attend classes? Well, it's summer vacation now. But why are you wearing your school uniform during the summer vacation? As I lampoon, I take a stealthy step in the opposite direction, in case the child makes me look like a dwarf. Meanwhile, I find the movie that I'll be watching. I don't have to wait too long. The Pirate 3 Crazy Adventurer. In the corresponding promotional pictures, a man in a top hat and trench coat is standing between lightning, waves, and storms with 3 retro pirate ships surrounding him. And at the bow of each ship stands a beautiful female pirate. This chapter's release was pushed back. The final chapter will be released tomorrow to promote Cuttlefish's new book, Embers Ad Infinitum again. Be prepared for a well-thought-out and detailed apocalyptic cyberpunk world with a setting superseding Lord of the Mystery. Take note that the beginning of the story is slow, maybe even slower like LOTM, but make sure to unlock all available chapters with coins so that the book is continued. Otherwise, it will be dropped in trial reads. Have faith in Cuttlefish. Also, please continue supporting Cuttlefish by unlocking chapters and coins even if it's continued. Synopsis below, our protagonist, Shang Jianyao, is crazy, literally crazy, at least that's what the doctors said. Living in a huge, underground building of Pangu biology, one of the few remaining factions in this apocalyptic wasteland known as the Ashlands, he acts in unfathomable ways that's head-scratching, comical, and shrewd. So is he really crazy? Probably. He has a grand dream to save all of humanity. Intricately tied to this dream is something everyone in the Ashlands believes in, deep in a particular ruin buried away by danger and famine, a path leading to a new world awaits. To step into the new world, one only needs to find a special key and open that certain door. There the land is bountiful, as if milk and honey flows freely. The sunlight is dazzling, as if all coldness and darkness are washed away. The people will no longer have to face desolation, monsters, infections, mutations, and all kinds of danger. Their children are joyous, adults are happy, everything is fine as they are supposed to be. Every antiquarian, ruin hunter, and historian roaming the Ashlands knows that's the new world. Modern day 28 translator C.K. Talon, The Pirate 3 Crazy Adventurer. It looks okay. It should be the kind of popcorn flick that I enjoy. I look around and make a preliminary decision. I quickly take out my phone and log in to the film review website to check out its score and review. The aesthetics are shallow, the plot is simple and crude. Other than the special effects and the few actresses, there's nothing else. The protagonist only knows how to act cool and has 0 acting skills. Nothing deep at all. TT's a passable commercial film, but it's only passable. FCK, reviews like these, I like movies like this. I'm just watching it to kill time and don't need deep, thought-provoking shows. I read the reviews and find that it isn't that bad. I have a rough idea. The giant middle school student standing beside me in front of the poster has already left to buy the tickets. One ticket for the Pirate 3, the earliest time slot. I go over only after the middle school student heads elsewhere in the mall. I don't want the contrast to be that apparent. It makes me feel inferior. There's still 15 minutes to the next time slot, the ticket sales staff informs me. That's fine. I don't plan on shopping, so I decide to find a place to sit and wait. After all, they'll allow entry inside very soon. Of course, before that, I buy a medium-sized iced Coke and a serving of butter popcorn. I obviously have to match a popcorn flick with popcorn. Otherwise, how can it be called enjoyment? In the past, I rarely watch movies, just to stop myself from overeating. And now, my weight has returned to my university days, and it's very muscular. This is the beauty of life. Not long after, I enter the venue according to the signs and find my seat. Even though it's office hours, there are quite a lot of people in the audience. A large portion of them are clearly students. Summer vacation. I also want a summer vacation. I take a sip of iced Coke and put on my 3D glasses. At this moment, the 2-meter-tall middle school student walks along the aisle towards me. Under normal circumstances, the gap between me and the row in front is sufficient for a person to pass through. However, the figure before me is simply too huge, and it isn't possible for me to grant him passage by just pulling in my legs. I have no choice but to stand up and lean back. The middle school student successfully passes through. He turns his head and smiles sincerely. Thank you, uncle. No problem. I still think I'm young. This interlude doesn't hinder me from eating popcorn, drinking iced Coke, and watching the various trailers on the big screen. Very quickly, the Pirate 3 officially begins. My smile only lasts for 5 minutes before it stiffens. It's not that the movie is worse than I expected, but that the male lead's fortuitous encounter is from drinking a potion. The potion gives me the feeling that it's the assassin beverage I drank before. Man, the assassin beverage is actually a potion. Who produced this movie? I remember seeing the dragon logo just now, Hall Film Company. This can't be a reflection of reality, can it? I instantly immerse myself in the plot, but there aren't any other potions later in the film. Instead, it shows the serious side effects of the potion. My heart grows heavier as I watch it. I even feel like I'm the male lead. After the movie, I can't help but curse inwardly. Is this guy that clueless? 3 beautiful female pirates are surrounding him, but in the end, he only took a silly bosun with him. Seriously? Where's the treasure they promised, and them heading off into the sunset while accompanied by Beauty? Yes, it's all disappeared off into the sunset. After watching the Easter egg, I pick up my empty Coke and popcorn bucket and walk towards the aisle. They were destroyed at some point. We suspect that they were sanctuaries built by other remaining humans. Unfortunately, they still lost to the things of the dark in the end. Things of the dark that he mentions should be a reference to monsters that hide in the dark, ones that are beyond imagination. Klein nodded indiscernibly. The Kingdom of Silver was once ruled by the Giant King. Hence, the Beyonder chain that we are in control of is the Giant Pathway, also known as the Divine Blood Warrior Sequence Pathway. When we killed certain monsters and explored those destroyed cities, we obtained potion formulas of other sequences. However, the sequence pathways are incomplete, Derek said, moving on to explain the current situation in the City of Silver. Upon hearing that, Klein's mind jolted. Although he didn't change his posture much, he was obviously paying more attention. I love knowing more about sequence potion. The Giant King, the City of Silver, and the Northern Continent share the same history. The Second Epoch's history, killing a monster causes it to drop a formula. Is this a game? No, there's another possibility. Those monsters were once human, Beyonders. Klein suddenly felt a heavy weight on his shoulder. Derek saw that the fool didn't reply. He clenched his teeth, pondered, and said, "The names of the giant sequence pathway are Sequence 9, the Beyonder Warrior, Sequence 8, Gladiator, Sequence 7, Weapons Master, Sequence 6, Dawn Paladin, Sequence 5, Guardian, and Sequence 4, Demon Hunter. Only the elders in the 6-member council know the names of the higher sequences. Sequence 4, Demon Hunter. This is the name of a high sequence potion formula. This is the first time I've heard something like this." Klein felt delighted at the fact that he finally learned one of the names of the higher sequences. However, he suspected that it was a name from ancient times, which would be different from the current version in the Northern Continent, just like the Windstorm Priest and the Seafarer. At this moment, A short girl who's clearly less than 1.6 meters tall suddenly comes over and suppresses her voice. Someone is monitoring you. Monitoring me who? I subconsciously look around, but I can't find the suspect. And the woman who warned me has already followed the crowd and walked to the exit. For real? I think for a moment, and decide to leave the cinema first before confirming the situation. There are too many people here, and it's too noisy. Calling the police wouldn't work. At the same time, a train stops at a high-speed rail station in the city. One of the carriages slowly opens, but there are only 4 to 5 people inside. They form a stark contrast with the crowd in the other carriages. Those few people are dressed as if they're going to a comic convention. After exchanging a glance, they stand up and walk out with heavy footsteps. What they see is an extremely modern platform and crowds of people. End of the first installment of the Lord of the Mysteries trilogy. Only this chapter is in a way the prologue to the second installment of the Latum trilogy, which will happen about 2 years from now when Cuttlefish's new book, Embers ad Infinitum, ends. Take note that the beginning of the story is slow, maybe even slower like LOTM, but make sure to unlock all available chapters with coins so that the book is continued. Otherwise, it will be dropped in trial reads. Have faith in Cuttlefish. Also, please continue supporting Cuttlefish by unlocking chapters and coins even if it's continued. Synopsis below, our protagonist Shang Jianyao is crazy, literally crazy, at least that's what the doctors said. Living in a huge, underground building of Pangu biology, one of the few remaining factions in this apocalyptic wasteland known as the Ashlands, he acts in unfathomable ways that's head-scratching, comical, and shrewd. So is he really crazy? Probably. He has a grand dream to save all of humanity. Intricately tied to this dream is something everyone in the Ashlands believes in, deep in a particular ruin buried away by danger and famine. A path leading to a new world awaits. To step into the new world, one only needs to find a special key and open that certain door. There the land is bountiful, as if milk and honey flows freely. The sunlight is dazzling, as if all coldness and darkness are washed away. The people will no longer have to face desolation, monsters, infections, mutations, and all kinds of danger. Their children are joyous, adults are happy, everything is fine as they are supposed to be. Every antiquarian, ruin hunter, and historian roaming the Ashlands knows that's the new world.